The development has created quite some tensions in neighboring countries, including Ghana, with citizens appreciating the reality of threats of terrorism and how close it is to us. I've been joined on phone by Emmanuel Bombande, his former UN senior mediation advisor and conflict resolution expert, for more on this. Mr. Bombande, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Hello, Mr. Bombande.
Is that what you've also learned?
Hello, Mr. Bombande.
Yes, hello, I can hear you.
Now,
good afternoon.
What does what we are seeing in Nigeria mean to Ghana, knowing how close we are with Nigeria, coupled with the fact that we've recently been alerted on possible threat attacks?
Well, first of all, it is always too near. And when you talk about the context of Nigeria, it reverberates very actively in our own jurisdiction. But we must also understand that the anxiety is increasing precisely because of the nature of the attacks in Nigeria. Now, when you were talking with your colleague, journalist from Nigeria, he described the character of urban violence. And if you listen to him, a lot of the terrorist attacks of Boko Haram, which basically is also the perception amongst a majority of Nigerians, is that it was mainly restricted to the northern states and cities and towns of Nigeria. But the attacking Owo, which is in the southwest of Nigeria, brings a new dimension in terms of proximity also to Ghana, because we interact more closely with the southern cities of Nigeria than the northern cities. And the attack in Owo, in a relatively peaceful compared to other states, which is absolutely a terrorist attack, raises the prospects of the spread and the capacity of these terrorists to operate with impunity. And it appears that the state security of Nigeria is not able to stop them. And I think this would be part of the reason why I feel it continues to be very close to us and it continues to raise the anxiety. But do not forget about the public narrative about violence in general, but the type of violence which we are talking about, which is a direct terrorist attack. And no wonder your colleague says nobody knows when the next attack will take place.
Mr. Mabade, speaking with the Nigerians themselves, you get a sense of fear and mistrust for the very people who are mandated to provide security for them. I mean, that's very bad. What then is the way forward for the sub-region and by extension Ghana?
So you have to look at it at two levels. We talk more about the competency and the capability of the security agencies to respond. And to that extent, when you look at the context of terrorist violence in Nigeria, we normally tend to analyze this capability of the Nigerian security forces. But I think what Nigeria has not been able to do sufficiently is to ensure there is a public outreach that complements the security. Because terrorism, and as your colleague explained, the asymmetric nature of the violence is not something that only the security agencies on their own can be able to curb. Though they are the frontline and it's their responsibility, to what extent is the general public helping? But the reason why the general public in Nigeria is not also sufficiently engaged is because of the divisive narrative in which the suspicions alongst North-South, Christian, Muslim, have sustained what you might call the environment of recruitment, both of terrorists, but also of a narrative of a divide. And I think they continue to struggle in this type of milieu. So then if I relate it to our own jurisdiction, our own context in Ghana, one, the campaign, if you see something, say something, absolutely should be widened, deepened, and other state agencies must join the security to spread the message. And whilst doing that, the frontline agencies of security can be indicating to the general public exactly what they should be reporting, what they should be able to do in case of an attack. But let me quickly add here that that is only the response side. Let me take another minute to talk about what I call the structural dimension. And in Nigeria, the structural dimension has not helped their situation. We have been doing much better, but we are beginning to see ugly signs. Now, when I talk about the structural dimension, how are we strengthening our social cohesion? How are we strengthening our sense of unity? How are we ensuring that the underlying issues that makes it possible for terrorists to recruit or exploit a divisive society does not sustain itself in Ghana? And let me take this opportunity to say that when political propagandists, for example, try to justify the building of a national cathedral on the basis that Muslims are the national mosque, it's a very dangerous and toxic discourse, because those who are propagating such a message know very well that the variables are different. They know that the enclave of the national mosque was already in the Islamic school grounds, and with the support of the Turkish government, directly led by the president of Turkey, Erdogan, our Muslim community has had a magnificent mosque built. Nothing to do with the taxpayers' money. Now, when you go to town with this knowledge, but you deliberately propagate a false propaganda, you are showing, in my view, the early ingredients of latent disunity between Muslims and Christians. Because then the discourse becomes divisive. And that's exactly what terrorists want. To be able to go in between you and say that the Christian majority in Ghana is using the state over the minority who are Muslim. And because of that, Muslims then could be seen as the marginalized. And because they are the marginalized, then they should be supported for them to experience justice. And this then becomes a feeding ground for the breeding of terrorism. And so that example, in my view, is a critical area of a public conversation. We must not politicize beyond what is unacceptable, that even goes to the extent of adding a religious divide, something that we might not be able to deal with. But of course, this takes time, but cumulatively, it is those grievances that increase the divide, and that becomes a source of exploitation by terrorists. So I'm also using this opportunity to advocate and to appeal that political propagandists must understand that there has to be a Ghana for you to be able to succeed in your politics. If you create a public discourse that is toxic and divisive, and we begin to experience what Nigerians are experiencing, even if you win political power or continue to win political power, you will have no country to govern. And I think that we need to be very honest, frank, and dispassionate in this sort of conversation, so that at the structural level, we do not allow the disunity that becomes the recruiting ground for terrorism.
I'm grateful for your time. Emmanuel Bombande, he's a conflict resolution expert and former executive director of ONE.